Welcome back, everybody, to the SOT Truth podcast, the alcohol-fueled chapter-by-chapter reread of the SOT Truth series with a capful of craft brew on the side. You know, because it's like a recap-heavy chapter. See how with the
Yeah, you're so
words.
clever.
I'm Nate.
And I'm Jade. And on this week, we are getting into chapter 56 of Stone of Tears.
That's right, we are. But before we do, we wanted to say something. We got an email this week from somebody listening, I'm not going to say who, that was having a rough week. And a lot of us are, but this was a particularly bad week. We felt very strongly for this person who reached out to us and said she was having like a really bad day and she was listening to the podcast and it was the bright spot in her day.
Yeah, it made her laugh.
Yeah, it made her laugh during a time when normally she probably wouldn't have been able to. And that meant so fucking much to us. We say thank you all the time. And it's not just a formality. We are thankful that everybody's listening and enjoying it. But when we got that email, it was like, I don't know, validating. And I'm just so happy that we can be a bright spot in somebody's day. And you're welcome. I'm happy to do it.
Well, I guess we started this just trying to have fun and talk about something that we really enjoy. And it's really nice to know that all the time and energy that we put into it is more than just, I don't know, I wouldn't say a waste, obviously, because we are enjoying our time, but that it's more than just fluff sometimes.
Well, there's somebody out there that's feeling it. It's almost like music. You put something out into the world and somebody else vibes with it, and it's an awesome thing. And I think in our case, we didn't expect to know other people as much as we do now, like people who reach out to us and talk to us, like we're aware of all of you, and it's amazing that we could have had an effect on somebody like that.
Yeah, that we can make the connections we can make through this podcast.
But we were just both blown away. I wanted to share that story with you guys because it meant a lot to us, and you know who you are. I hope you're having a better day, and we will do our damnedest to make you smile again today.
And for anybody else, if you ever feel like dropping us a line, we would love to hear from you. And I don't know, it makes our day when we get little emails like that. Or you can share it on the Facebook page, and we can all shower you with love there, too.
That's right. Well, with that, I think we're about ready to get into this chapter. So, if you will all pardon me for a moment.
I'm going to finish chugging my Red Bull so I can help you drink that beer.
Now we can begin. Oh, that's good. Okay,
you can't
now
talk
we
about
can
it
begin.
Yet.
That's right, it's not time. So we are in for a bit of a long chapter, boys and girls. There is quite a big recap at the top of this one, and we didn't go into all of the details during the recap because, I mean, we've been reading the book, so it kind of seemed a little redundant.
I don't know if I'd call it a recap or a rundown, because it's not things that have happened before. It's things that happened that we, weren't there for. So it's fast-forwarding through some shit.
Oh, yeah. Well, cue the montage music, right? So he figures the reason that there aren't any wizards in the Midlands is because they're all here. There's over 100 boys and men there, and some that even came from Dahara.
So these are all wizards with the gift born into them, not the calling, like the wizards that were, because we know that there's no wizards left anyways, because they all fucking died.
Right.
But the wizards that were there, other than Zed, didn't have the gift. They had the calling.
Right. So they learned it. It wasn't in their blood.
Yeah. So the palace of the prophet seems to be hoarding people with a gift, kind of.
That's kind of a terrifying thought, really.
Yeah.
All the power is concentrated in this one place.
Now, I did think it was a little bit funny. I couldn't remember as a reader how much of this I thought into the first time I read. So I don't want to pick it apart too much yet, but we did hear that no boys have come to the palace since Richard, right?
Right.
Richard heard that, not just us. And there are young boys coming up to him all the time. So I'm just curious why he's not like, wait.
Well, young boys with the collar.
Right.
That are obviously boys that the sisters went out to get.
Right. And
but they've been there since before Verna left to go get Richard.
Or somebody lied, because it doesn't make sense.
And they're still little kids.
Right. Because Verna left before Richard was born, which was 30 years ago.
Right.
So there's no way that if that sister was telling the truth about no boys coming, these boys could have come in the past 30 years.
Accurate. But you were pointing a lot while you did that, but I followed. You looked really smart when you said it. So Richard has also gained some fans, Kip and Hirsch.
These are two of the boys that we were just talking about.
Right. Sometimes he thinks that they seem like old men. But they also play pranks and shit on the sisters, which makes them seem more like kids.
Yeah.
They never get more than just a slap on the wrist from the sisters either. They like fuck with them all the time. They go, "Oh, you little scamps." And that's like all they get. It's not a big deal at all. But when they try to fuck with Richard, he makes it known very fast that it's not going to work. Don't fuck with me.
I'm not the one.
Right. And I mean, that makes these young kids like him even more. And I thought it was kind of funny because it's literally the definition of fuck around and find out.
Yeah, he's not going to get punked by them and they know it.
No.
So.
No, man, we don't mess with Richard. Why? What did he do? We don't talk about it.
He stepped.
He stepped. The sword came out and it was just a bad day for everybody involved. So we don't prank him anymore. No more putting his stapler in Jell-O.
So he usually lets Kip and her stay around if Pasha is with him, kind of like a little buffer.
Yeah.
And he figures that's fine because he can't do shit with Pasha with him anyways, so he might as well have a couple little tag-alongs.
Yeah, he makes her feel better about not being alone by keeping the kids there with him. Yeah. Like, hey, I'm not going to touch you. But it's because the kids are here, not because I don't want to, is the message that he's sending her way.
Well, and also he's protecting her from all of the boys giving her shit and, like, playing pranks on her.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. See, I would do the opposite, though. I would let the kids fuck with her as much as they wanted and then be like, see, this is why we don't fuck. Because if we do that, then there's more of them.
Oh, yeah,
and more of them are going to fuck with you.
Yeah, I'm not going to deal with that. So
we are not making any more of these little monsters. No way, no how.
Point proven.
Yeah. So some of the other guys in collars, Isaac and Perry, where's Perry? Showed him the tavern in town, and Richard finds Kevin Andelmere, Swordsman Andelmere. And he buys him a beer. There were always girls flocking the collar boys. I like that. That sounds like a bluegrass band. We're the blue collar boys.
We're the collar boys.
Who would then buy them shit, anything they wanted, before taking them to their rooms.
Schmooze them.
Yeah, where they would play like tabletop card games.
Chess.
And read the dictionary. And hug. I just think of Red Foreman. We hug. That's all. For anyone who didn't want to go through all of that trouble, they could just go get a hooker.
Yeah, all the trouble of buying shit that with money that you didn't earn.
Yeah,
to get with a woman for one night, like it's that much trouble. Like, let's be real here, okay? You're not having to work for weeks to get a girl in your bed. They're talking like literally one night. You have to schmooze them a little bit to get them in bed. If you don't want to bother with that, then you could go to a prostitute.
Yeah, literally, if you don't want to bother with a free pass, we'll give you all the money you want. Like, in today's terms, you can have the biggest house you wanted. You could have had the best car. You could have the best clothes, everything, because you're a younger wizard. So you're like, you're dressed up, man. Mm-hmm. You're living life. I mean, granted, it's not made from the sweat of your back, like you were saying. Yeah. So, but that just sweetens the pot for these guys. It's literally free money. All you have to do is say, what do you want? Okay, get that for her.
You're pretty.
That was the most effort. And if that's still too much, then yeah, you go get a hooker. And the girls, they're not as pretty, but sometimes it's worth it. Gross.
You just need to bang one out, I guess.
There was a certain adult establishment. Not too, like, I don't want to make it sound like it's near our house, but it's in, well, I'll say Grand Rapids, and it was famously the worst strip club you could ever go to, and it wasn't great.
Yeah, well, at least it wasn't maybe it was in the back room, probably a little bit of a brothel.
Assuming, but yeah, it's the stories I heard were pretty awful.
Hey, they did what they had to do to survive, okay?
No, I've got nothing wrong or no problem with a girl dancing to make money. But yeah, this was more seedy than that, I'm sure.
Seedy. Oh.
Oh!
So.
Sorry. Anyways.
Isaac and Perry thought Richard was weird for not partaking in the ladies, which led Richard to ask about these girls' dads. Like, aren't you worried about getting your shit kicked in? And they're basically telling him that their dads whore them out for this shit.
Yeah.
They just bring them in and they're like, hey.
Super normal.
Take my daughter for the night. It's fine. I don't care. And then Richard asks about pregnancy. Like, the big thing that we all worry about. And
there's your fucking ice bath, son.
Yeah. They tell him that the palace is going to take care of that shit. We don't got to worry about that. The palace just pays for those girls and their families and the kids. It's totally fine. If they get themselves pregnant, that's on them and the palace. No big deal.
I love how he said get themselves pregnant. Like it had nothing to do with them.
Yeah, I love when people use that term.
We were just joking about this in the last episode where they had like 3 months of sex education, and this guy apparently never took that because he does not know. Okay, obviously does, but he doesn't know that that's how it works. Nobody told him it's related.
I think it's just based on the fact that they don't have to worry about it. Like, you got yourself pregnant, you have to deal with it.
Yeah, it's nothing they need to worry about.
Yeah.
So why?
Yeah.
Just whatever.
It's all on her, man.
They're being taken care of. It's almost like, I don't want to say victimless crime because it still seems wrong, but they get the sex that they want and they get the stimulation. And then the girl has the baby, probably not one she wanted, but it's all taken care of. So whatever.
Yeah. I mean, then you're stuck as a single parent for the rest of forever, even if you're getting paid. It kind of probably isn't super great.
Well, I'm guessing it's not the life that you would have wanted to make for yourself.
I just imagine that, because these wizards aren't marrying these girls. So I don't know about how the social constructs happen in the old world, but usually in times like this, you have a man that helps take care of you and like legitimizes you. Yeah.
And I mean, if you're working like these girls are working, you have a limited time that you're going to be able to do that for anyways.
Right.
So.
But I'm thinking even the girls that get whored out or that are like, hey, yeah, but take me up to your room for this pretty dress. Like, they get pregnant. They're taken care of too, but they weren't working girls. But now they're single and like, I don't know. They're obviously not virgins. I don't know. I don't know enough about the old world to talk more about this.
What you're saying is that they're going to have trouble finding a man or somebody to take care of them now that they have all of this extra.
Theoretically.
Along with them.
Yeah.
Yeah, it could very well be.
So Richard asks Pasha about this whole setup, and she turns her back to him like a fucking kid. It was very weird. Like, I'm not going to look at you while we talk about this. And then she tells him that the urges of the men would be so distracting, so the sisters encourage them to take care of it, which is why she's not allowed to go with him to the city at night.
That's weird. Like, that's not going to stop anything. Even if you were there, Richard could be like, hey, I'm not with you. Bye.
Yeah. I'm going to go do some stuff.
Yeah.
Well, she then begs him to come to her first if he wants to get some, or at the very least, let her be one of the ones that gets to fuck him if he's going to be doing some fucking.
Which we know that she wants. Obviously, she, like, dripped all over him while he was in his trance last night. That's very weird.
Yes. Richard tells her that he's not about that shit. He just wants to see the city. He wasn't raised to treat ladies like that. Then he makes the biggest mistake ever, in my personal opinion.